Okay, so last week we spoke about Starbreeze's plans for Payday 3 over the summer months. In this video we'll be taking a closer look at the upcoming Assassin skill line making its way into the game with the next patch, as well as the brand new interactive website they mentioned, now known as the Gateway Report, that means DLC 2 Boys in Blue is just around the corner. But before we go any further, I just want to address the potential elephant in the room. If at any point in this video I sound a little off, that'd be because I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment. Speaking right now feels like I'm gargling razor blades, but of course there's Payday 3 news and we've got to talk about it. This week's blog post revolves around the Assassin skill line. With applications for both loud and stealth playstyles, this skill line has some passive effects associated with suppressors, but also some more active effects that will require you to mark enemies to benefit from them. The titular Assassin skill grants you rush every time you take out a guard with a suppressed weapon, and when aced, allows you to refresh that rush by marking an enemy. I know that this skill is going to synergize fantastically with the transporter skill line. You won't have to keep throwing and picking up bags to maintain rush, and equally you won't have to run around in circles to activate rush either. This skill alone is going to make rush far more accessible, and as I'd say that it's currently the most tedious perk to maintain, this is a very welcome addition. But of course that's only the tip of the iceberg for this new skill line. The first upgrade, Skimming the Ground, grants a 20% increase to crouch movement speed as long as you've got a suppressed weapon equipped. Make of it what you will with this upgrade. It's definitely got its use cases, though I can't really see it fitting into any of my builds. Though I could definitely see the second upgrade, Drop Cloth, making its way into my stealth builds. This upgrade prevents guards taken out with a suppressed weapon from being detected or having their pages activate for 10 seconds, which should give you more than enough time to move the body to a more secluded area. The third upgrade, Duck and Weave, gives you a 25% damage increase to enemies from behind, provided you have Rush active. This bonus decreases by 5% for each chunk of armor that you currently have, currently being an important word to remember here. If you run the heaviest armor in the game with 4 chunks, it seems that you'll gain 5% for each armor chunk that you lose, and of course the other way around, if you begin to refill your armor, you'll also lose 5% for each chunk you replenish. The first armor chunk isn't penalized, so the 25% damage increase applies if you have 1 armor chunk or none at all. Having the fourth upgrade, Killer Kinesthetics, means that whenever you take out a marked enemy, another enemy within 10 meters will become marked. Now, on its own, this seems like a pretty odd skill, but when accompanied by the, in my opinion, absolutely brilliant 5th upgrade, Assassin's Metal, that heals you by 10 health for each marked enemy that you defeat with a suppressed weapon, when your armor is broken, it becomes much more useful. The Assassin's Metal skill is likely going to make its way into all of my loud builds. It's a way of regaining health indefinitely, something that Payday 3 has needed for a long time. I think it's quite well balanced as well. Marking SWAT enemies requires some skill point investment, so to maximize the potential of this skill, you'd have to sacrifice some other skills elsewhere, and at that point, after you've invested into a playstyle, I think you've earned the right for it to be quite strong. Death Knell, the mastery skill for the Assassin line, marks any enemy affected by a throwable weapon, and therefore works quite nicely with the main skill line. Overall, the Assassin skill line looks like it's shaping up to be a useful but not exactly overpowered addition to the game. It's also nice to see suppressor skills coming back. While I don't hate it, I'm still not the biggest fan of the way Payday 3 handles skills, and I'm hoping for an overhaul at some point in the future. But with the way things currently are, the Assassin skill should be a welcome addition. Just before we discuss the new website that Starbreeze have made that will hopefully lead us nicely into DLC 2, I want to take a second to say that if you are enjoying the video, please consider subscribing. Not to sound like a broken record, but the last few weeks have been incredible for the channel's growth, so thank you. 3 weeks ago I set the goal of hitting 500 subscribers before the release of Boys in Blue, but we reached that less than 24 hours after the video went live. It took us just over a week to go from 500 to 600, and then just a handful of days to go from 600 to 700. It's with that in mind that I've decided to set the crazy goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers before Boys in Blue comes out. For the record, I don't know if we can do that, but I'm hoping to be proven wrong. Every single subscriber counts, and so if you haven't subscribed yet, perhaps now may be the time to do so. But now for some breaking news.
Politics, crime, entertainment. We bring you stories of relevance, because relevant stories matter. Gateway Live, a new show, part of the Gateway Report, coming to you soon.
Yes, that's right, the interactive website that Starbreeze teased just last week has now been revealed as the Gateway Report. The website has some fun fictional articles on it, one of which seemingly related to DLC 2 and the boys in Blue Hiest. The article, titled A Golden Opportunity for Soon Defunct Bronx Police Station, covers a recent raid that resulted in the discovery of a large amount of illicit substances and potentially ill-gotten gold. The police are currently unaware whether the gold is associated with the substances or if it's been generated through legitimate business, but the owner and employees of the unnamed Gold for Cash location are currently under police investigation. The article explains that the seized assets are being held at the 51st precinct of Bruckner Boulevard in the Bronx. There is also a picture of the police station, which is likely our first look at the upcoming heist. Now, there are a couple of things to note from this article. Firstly, the article goes out of its way to specify that the police don't know if the seized gold is associated with the drugs, making me think that they may not be. Perhaps the heist will see us stealing both the drugs and the gold, which will in turn land the Payday gang in hot water with the gold's owner. Who that may be, I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. Secondly, the article mentions that the owner and employees are under investigation for association with a statewide drug operation, so perhaps we'll have the opportunity to steal some of their intel during the heist. I don't expect this to be the main objective, but a side objective similar to collecting the files from the lockboxes in No Rest for the Wicked or photographing the documents in the safe on Dirty Ice. I just really hope that this heist starts to get the story of Payday 3 heading in an interesting direction. But of course, that's all quite speculative. Something a little bit more concrete though is the picture of the precinct itself. As we know that the in-game precinct is located on Bruckner Boulevard in the Bronx, I did some digging to see what the police stations in that area looked like, and the closest one to Bruckner Boulevard looks interestingly like the building in the article. Now, obviously there are some major differences between these two buildings, but enough similarities that I couldn't help but mention that perhaps Starbreeze used this very building as inspiration for the next heist. Something else that I've noticed is that copies of the Gateway Report can also be found in-game. So far I've only found this one on Syntax Error. I don't know if they're on all heists or how long they've been in the game. It's entirely possible that they've been here from the start and we just didn't have a reason to notice them until now, although it's more likely that they were added in the last update as a discoverable teaser, just like the LMG was. I'm expecting this webpage to update over the coming weeks, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the Gateway Live. It's nice to see Payday getting back into its out-of-game interactive marketing again. As a console player, I missed out on most of the ARG-style marketing for Payday 2, so seeing it come back for Payday 3 is really welcome. Before anyone says that they should be focusing on fixing the game instead of making and updating this website, I'd like to clarify that the team responsible for this website and marketing in general aren't the same team responsible for creating the content of the game, so the existence of this website isn't exactly indicative of resources being pulled away from the game itself. I'm excited for the future and really believe we're on the path to a better Payday 3, but for now, that is just about all we have time for, and so with that all said, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, drop a like on the video. If you disliked the video, drop a dislike on the video. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you in the next video.